Hello everybody, so this video is entitled No Turmoil, We Print, and I'm obviously talking about MSTR and Stretch. It is Stretch who is printing new shares as we speak, despite the FUD of the day, the Quantum FUD. Despite that, well, that wasn't enough to stop Stretch. Stretch is still printing. I think people have had enough of a Quantum FUD. Anybody who spends a few minutes on that FUD can debunk that FUD. Of course, I will do that at the end of this video. So, all we need is hope. All we need is a glimmer of normalcy in the market for Bitcoin to rebound and for strategy to rebound and for Stretch to work. You need liquidity for Stretch to work. Remember, yesterday, Monday, and then this past Friday, this past Thursday, the stocks were only down all day long, down, down, down. You had no liquidity. The money was just getting purged out of the system. Everything was selling off, including bonds, everything. And the market is nuts, and the market doesn't know how to price things. The market has been sick since 1010. The market has had liquidity issues since 1010. We're overdue for 6 months of normalcy. That's all I ask, please. 6 months of normalcy. We've had grace one after grace one, you know, from government shutdown to Greenland to now the black swan of Iran, which is a black swan, make no mistake. It is a black swan in my view. But if we get some normalcy, if we get something that remotely looks like normalcy, it will be the iPhone moment for Stretch. Stretch will remain successful if we have normal markets. That's my view, and that's because, of course, they pay a very high yield. Of course, Stretch is a play of strategy, all about the delta between the ARR of Bitcoin, which should be 29% per the Bitcoin 24 model, and, of course, the 11.5% yield. That delta is supposed to flow to MSTR shares, and, of course, Sailor removes the volatility for people who want to have a higher yield. We have been ATMing a lot today. The ATM briefly stopped after that Quantum FUD was promoted on X, but as soon as the Quantum FUD, kind of got debunked by a few major influencers, we were back at the ATM on Stretch. So right now, as I record this, we are ATMing again. We ATM'd all morning until that quantum article started gaining traction on social. We ATM'd all morning. So very successful. Right now we're at more than 700 Bitcoin. I didn't take another screenshot. All stocks broke during this uncertainty, MSTR too, but, and some stocks broke to the upside, as you know in this channel. I cannot possibly understand why Walmart is up so much and stocks like AT&T. So some stocks broke, but over the long term, if normalcy returns, the stock won't break. But unfortunately, you have people out there who do it for the engagement, right? And start talking about quantum again. So that's the reason why we dropped, and we bounced back, but we dropped. That's the reason why we dropped. The Quantum FUD. The Quantum FUD is back. So let me address that once again. I've addressed it multiple times on the channel by the Quantum FUD. Coinpedia, CoinDesk, these articles work on it. All of these platforms, they work on attention, right? It's all about grabbing your attention. So of course they won't say this as clearly as I will. Okay, Quantum FUD. Only the old wallets are at risk. Modern wallets, like those used by Strategy and like those used by anybody who's been in the field after 2014, let's say, modern wallets only reveal the public key when the money is spent. And when that public key is revealed, there's typically another transaction within the public key that empties the entire wallet into a new private wallet, right? Into a new key, which is not broadcast into a new public key, but that public key is not broadcast. So a new unspent public key is created. And so, in other words, whenever you spend Bitcoin, you spend the entire Bitcoin. right? You spend the whole thing, and then you create a new wallet that is unspent. You never reuse the wallets. And if you never reuse the wallets, the public key is not exposed. The public key is not broadcast to the network. And so if there is no public key to crack, if most Bitcoin are under public keys that have never been broadcast, how is a quantum computer supposed to break Bitcoin? How is a quantum computer supposed to break a wallet that has never been broadcast? Which is literally all of the Bitcoin from 2014 onward has never been broadcast. That's how it works, right? And Saylor's addressed that multiple times. What we will need to do is the people with very old Bitcoin will need to, over the course of a few years, upgrade to any newer wallet. Just upgrade to a new wallet. That is what needs to do. As Saylor has described it multiple times, it's like, if you refuse 2FA to log in into a bank, if you don't have 2FA, or at your work, right, at your job, if you refuse to have 2FA, at some point, you're not going to keep your job because security evolves, right? So you need to turn on 2FA. Right? This is the same story. People who want to not be at risk of getting their Bitcoin stolen will need to upgrade to a newer wallet that doesn't broadcast the public key, right? In fact, you don't even need to do that. You could just move entirely to a new wallet, and that's it, and never spend from that wallet again. So it's a best practice that has been around for well over 10 years. And this FUD, by the way, has also been around for, well over 10 years. If you read the early Bitcoin books, they talk about that. This is nothing new. There is nothing new under the sun. The fact that it comes in 2029, that likely doesn't make that much of a difference. Okay, here's the problem with quantum, right? The big risk with quantum is, of course, the Satoshi coins, right? It's the coins that have been lost for people that have died, that have not transmitted. That's the big risks. And I had a debate in the comment section one time where the commenter was like, let the keys be stolen and let the keys be spent, right? Which is a core argument of crypto. And I don't know what should be done if old wallets, Bitcoins are ever stolen. I really don't know what should be done about that. All I know is that if that happened, that would only be an event that would, crash the price of Bitcoin. But it would not undermine Bitcoin. It would simply cause a crash. Essentially, if quantum happened and public keys were decoded, the only thing you would do is you would cause a crash. We have crashes in Bitcoin regardless. We always have crashes in Bitcoin. So you would just cause a crash. Okay. Iran, Middle East caused a crash in Bitcoin, right? The shutdown caused a crash in Bitcoin. At the end of the day, one Bitcoin is still one Bitcoin at the end of the day, right? And if there's a thief that unlocks like the extra 1 million Satoshi coin, well, I guess there will be 1 million more Satoshi coins in the market, and that will cause a crash. But that's it. We have a crash anyways. We have crashes all the time anyways. So this is such FUD. This is complete FUD. If you own your Bitcoin in a modern wallet, life is good. Just use a modern wallet. Anything after 2015, and life is good. So anyways, hopefully this debunks this, at least for the viewers of my channel, for good. This is not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.